I just did it in the morning.
Are we rolling?
Yeah, I really
That's exciting. Okay.
This is...
Do you want to hold an octopus?
Yeah. This is also a color shirt that no one... This is going to sound very gay, but you're an artist, so maybe you won't say it sounds gay, it sounds artsy. This is like a color of a t-shirt that no one with my skin complexion should wear. It's like nude.
No, it's pretty gay.
You know what I mean? Like, because the skin...
Yeah,
like this and pink
pink
people.
My problem is I hate color theory. It's Jake.
I want to have him sit on my leg.
But if you want the big one, like she's really... Look at her, she's excited.
I have a mini one of this.
Yeah.
Brian Mays, when we were at Lovers, got me... Oh, look at the green eyes, too.
We were gay lovers.
Yeah. Or this video will be all about setting up our teddy bears.
I know, exactly.
I call anything that's stuffed a teddy bear.
And this is Penis de Milo, the violent femme.
What? She has a penis.
She's got a penis, and she's got...
You know what's so scary about her hole? It's like brown.
Well, because so many people have been figuring her for so long. But listen. She likes Mike.
I like your face like this. I have orgasm so much. It reminds you of Joan Rivers. I was watching Joan Rivers this morning, like an old interview. She was with Martha Stewart, and she was laughed, but like her face was so plastic. Like her face still made gestures, but it wasn't kind of like smiles. She'd make a gesture, and her eyebrow would go up.
Oh, this sounds painful.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay, look. We look good.
Yeah, damn, we look good.
We look really good. This week's vodcast is just me. I didn't invite Christopher because I wanted this guy all to myself. I called you a comic the other day, but then I realized the correct word is cartoonist.
It's true. I make comics, but I'm a cartoonist. The semantics around this stuff gets really wonky.
Yeah.
Because cartoonist can also mean an animator who makes cartoons, but cartoons are animations, not comic books. So it's a mess.
I typed that out the other day. I was like, I think it's comic, but then it is cartoonist. But then I also was going to put /teacher, slash therapist, slash rad dude. Justin,
it's I think comics creator, like, you know how massage people now we call ourselves massage therapists and masseurs and masseuses. It's that kind of thing. I think, comic book, comics creator.
I'm a touch therapist.
You're a touch therapist.
I heard that too, but that's
really?
that sounds a little, I don't know.
That sounds a little.
It's just a term.
It's just touch.
Yeah. So we actually did an interview before, which is really popular, in the bathtub.
Yeah, I know. Why are we in a bathtub? I'm feeling
because
really dirty.
I don't want to just be the bathtub guy. I have more depth as a bathtub guy.
Bubbles the bathtub man.
All right, so we're gonna catch up, but specifically about you have a Kickstarter page.
Yeah.
You and Dave Davenport together for a book called.
You can do it.
Swallow. Hard to swallow.
Hard to swallow, yes.
Which also to me makes it sound like you're like a quitter, like can't swallow. I quitted.
No, it means that it's hard to swallow.
And every sexual innuendo probably said today is meant to be a sexual innuendo. Because I read through the Kickstarter page today, I'll let you describe it, but it's all about your guys' comics, you and Dave's comics from 2006 to 2009.
Oh, good.
And you're going to put a collection together with the help of Northwest Press.
Yes.
And Zan Christensen. And today you have a good start. You're almost halfway there, and there's 16 days left.
Actually, more than halfway.
Yeah.
But we just broke 9,000, so it's good. Hard to Swallow was erotic comics that Davey and I started 2006 to 2009. This is the first issue. And we collaborated. So I did half the book, and he did half the book, and he would do the front cover, and I would do the back cover, and then I did the front cover. And then he did the back cover, and
is there
one cover, back cover?
Is there one story from?
So
is this like one story?
So I have a continuing pirate story that continued through all 4 issues, and it's all this horrible story about a cabin boy being taken, shanghaied, and raped, and there's a evil Captain Spear who's got like a detachable hook arm that have different attachments, and he rapes this poor cabin boy with it's horrible. So that happens, and Davey's got another You're so prepared. There's Davey's got another continual serialized story called Feral and the Ghost Skater, and it's about a horny werewolf and a ghost of a skater boy, and they kind of get it on. And there's this one guy has to put a finger, like a chopped off finger, like a desiccated finger, up his butt, and that calls the werewolf to him. I mean, it's all very wholesome family entertainment.
You know, it's just perfect because you guys are my kind of gays. You know, like I went to get this because I did write some notes, and I put werewolf sex, porn star sex, gay bar sex, Spanish sex,
Spanish pirates,
Spanish, and then pirate sex.
Yeah, pirate sex. Yeah. So that other stuff. So I was. So I did the pirate serial story, but then also I was doing. I love doing kind of memoir stories and true biographical stories.
And autobiographical, right?
Autobiographical and biographical. I was fascinated with this idea of someone who would have this like very public sexual persona, but then what would their private sex stories be like? So I got to ask someone like this guy Topper Brandt. Well, how did you become a pervert? When did you know you were a pervert? And, right? And it was just this crazy
such another word
story
that pokes people.
So that was great. So stories like that. I also one of my favorite stories was this woman who she's a femme dyke, but she worked for Gay.com doing writing gay male porn reviews under a male pseudonym. And she said that she used to strap her tits down, put on boy drag, and go into the back of the powerhouse and suck guys off.
Jesus.
Yeah, and she's a dyke, and she's like a big, busty femme dyke. Like,
but she's a dyke. That's why would she want to suck guys off though, just for the experience of the story?
Well, that's what I kind of asked. I was like, what was that about? She said, I don't even really know now. She doesn't do it anymore.
She's been outed.
I know. And she was like, I just was fascinated by the kind of overt sexuality of it all. Like, you know, so she, you know, and she did that for a little while, and she got caught. And so I did the comic story about her getting caught. So I wanted to make, and this is true in general with the Hard to Swallow comics, is that we wanted to make, I'm sorry I don't have the last issue with me.
Yeah. But, these are all pretty much all sold out, right?
Yeah, it's all out of print now. So, but we wanted to make edgy, personal porn and erotica that wasn't just kind of your standard run-of-the-mill kind of stern-faced sex gods, you know, of Tom of Finland, or the kind of, you know, so I was really fascinated with these kind of true stories, and I wanted to make something like that story about her is something that you can. I drew really good scenes of cocksucking, right? So you can kind of jerk off to it, but it also makes you think by the end of it, like.
Well, just when you said the statement, like, there's a part of me that actually got angry a little bit. I was like,
how dare you?
You fucking bitch, suck on my dick.
Yeah, but then the guy actually got turned on by the fact that it was even more transgressive because he was in the gay bar getting sucked off by a woman. Like that, so it turned him on even more. Even though he's a gay guy.
He acknowleded it, and then kind of instead of like, your life kind of plays into like it looks like these comic. characters.
No, it was definitely my shout out to the comic geeks in the crowd.
So this and what you're doing with these that are outdated now, you have a Kickstarter fund.
Yes, to collect all of this material. So what was really cool about it is that we did this for 4 years, and got a lot of like interesting fans and stuff. People kind of. There was a I ran into this Israeli guy a couple years ago who said that he had been reading this stuff from Tel Aviv, and he didn't have any representation of like punks that were kind of sexy and gay, and then a lot of people were also very into the werewolf thing. This was like before. I think werewolves have now become more kind of in the moment, and
like you mean like
sexy
puppy play type stuff,
and the puppy play stuff.
I mean, just as
so
far
this was
as like
before that a lot of that was happening. So
that was me so excited. We're also receiving that in Israel, and just like getting it and kind of being nervous, afraid. And then he gets it and he's like, oh! Yeah. He comes in his pants.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, yeah. However you say that in Hebrew.
Oh! Yeah. I think it's universal.
No, but it's, basically he had only been seeing, he's this big bear guy and sexy bear dude. And he had only seen, with a lot of punk background, and he had only seen, images of the kind of classic, like, pretty boy gay stuff, and felt completely alienated from it. Yeah. And to find this stuff was really important for him. It made him realize there are gay punks out there. There are gay, weirdos and perverts.
Remind me of the magazine. I don't think it was a cartoon, but it was Homocore. I remember I grew up in Ithaca, New York, and I hung out with all the punk kids, and I was like the queer weirdo, but like I wasn't overtly gay, but I kind of wanted to sleep with every one of my friends, but they were all straight. I never found homocore, and I think it might have been San Francisco based.
No, it was actually out of Toronto.
But I remember something. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Chevy Jones and Bruce LaBruce.
Yeah, like punk boys were so exciting to me because all my friends. I don't have any exciting stories like we get drunk and I'd blow them. Nothing like that.
No, that's true.
I know, it's tragic. I thought about it. I'd even we get drunk. Like I have a crazy story about living in squat houses and stuff when I was a kid. But we get drunk and pass out and I'd be like this. I'd accidentally pass out in the hand like this.
Dude, what happened?
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
I used to stay at a squat in New York called Feta Squat. On 9th Street between C and D, and my friends there were squat, they were squat kids, and there were some gay squat kids. This one guy who used to sell crack and sell guns and stuff, and I was supposed to do a road trip with him, and then the squat kind of got on and taken. But it was
Jesus Christ. You hear these stories and you look at us and you're like,
oh, we look like such nice boys.
So. No.
But the thing is so I feel like there's a legacy to this stuff which is really important, and it's inspired other cartoonists, and I also other weird fans. There was a woman who was a Penthouse centerfold who was obsessed with this stuff, and she was this is my favorite fan, right? So she's really cool, cool lady, and gorgeous, stacked, just amazing. And she would come in, and the part of the books were already sold out. It was really hard to find, because they
which makes them more desirable.
And so she was before she met me and got the books from me directly, she would go around to different comic book stores, and she kind of charged in these comic stores, and they're all run by these nerdy straight boys who were like, oh my god, tits, real and she kind of charges in all tits out. And
I see her corset and leopard bra.
And she's should you have hard to swallow? It's this gay pirate porn comics. And they're
I'll Tracy Lords.
It definitely, I wanted to get this material out there again. So there was that, and then we're going to add about 50 pages of new material. So we're bringing on more guest creators, because every issue we brought in a different guest cartoonist. And we're going to do 2 more, Victor Hodge and John Macy. And we've got about 50 pages of new material, and Northwest Press, Zan, is going to collect all this stuff into this big, beautiful collection. He's an incredible designer, too. Well, it's going to look beautiful.
I remember their Straight Lines book over there.
No Straight Lines, yeah. So
that
this was
an awesome. That's hardback. And I also saw you have a goal on Kickstarter, which I think is kind of hard-ass to go for a Kickstarter, because Kickstarter is all or nothing. There's Indiegogo projects where if you don't make it, but I think you're going to make the goal if all you guys chip in $1 or $2. And then you also have a stretch goal I saw too, which would make it hardcover.
Make it hardcover, yeah. So that would be really
Isn't it funny that just hardcover, it's just makes it more. Is hardcover more expensive or?
It is a little bit more expensive to print, but it's also, but it's not that much.
I feel like it makes it more real.
But it's more real. You could actually, I could kill you with this book.
Yeah,
actually, I couldn't kill you with this book. I could.
You could paper cut the shit out of my eye.
But this one, I could really go to town, right?
I kind of invoke that from people sometimes. So that's exciting.
Yeah, so it would be really nice to have that on the shelves, a big beautiful collection of this material, because I'm really proud of it. And it's sad that it's out of print. I want most of this stuff to be back on the shelves.
And is your guys considered porn?
Yeah, I consider erotica porn.
Porn erotica.
So I don't know, the distinction between those terms kind of annoy me. Basically I feel like erotica is a term that people use when they're ashamed of the word porn. Because the pornography, because erotica is this idea of it being more and more artistic, right?
Yeah.
But you can have artistic pornography. I mean, I feel so my definition of this would be, if one of the primary artistic intentions of the work is to sexually arouse and titillate the person.
I see teacher in you right now.
Oh, I totally went into academic.
I like it.
Do you kind of that turn?
I want you to smack me with a ruler.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna get my my tweed jacket with elbow patches. Yeah.
Okay, so
you want an A?
One of my biggest complaints on my YouTube is that I interrupt all the time. So I'm trying to listen.
Okay, so let me do my academic rant. So I think one of the oh, come on. If one of the primary artistic intentions of the work is sexual arousal, then it's pornography or erotica, however you want to define it. I can understand a distinction between pornography that's only has the artistic intention of sexual arousal, and erotica has other artistic intentions as well, but it's kind of a false distinction. I feel like anything, I use the terms interchangeably.
Yeah. I'm just giving you a second to finish. Let's try to be better. I run into that as well when I label things just for my website and stuff like that. Like when I put the term like not safe for work, people always have these ideas around not safe for work. Like so I just broke it down even further when on my site. I mean, there's a penis showing. That's how I say not safe for work. So if someone knows, I mean,
that's where you work.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, because I get always so much comments. Where do you work at? All you uptight people. There's no penis. I don't see nothing appropriate for work. I'm like, I wasn't trying to have a discussion about what's appropriate for work and work stand. I was just saying, in my context for my website, I always put if there's a penis showing.
Yeah, it makes
sense.
Flaccid
or not.
Yeah, sure.
There's even also, I remember when I started my site. This is just going to be kind of continuation of conversation. I never wanted to put like in my mind. A goal for like drawing a line between like porn and not porn was like an erection. It was weird, but there's one of those things that could be debated. And I remember I've done a couple photo shoots recently. The tension wasn't for the models to become erect, but two of them got big boners, and so I was like, "You're comfortable, I'm comfortable," because I was ready to stop. If they didn't want that. And it was funny because so I kind of my boundary kind of stretched a little further. I was like, I wasn't trying to give him a boner, and he's not like touching it, but he's just in one of my green chair photos. He's sitting there and he's got this gorgeous boner. It's like
it's all natural.
And that particular post went viral because I put, don't look at this if you want to see boners. You know what I mean?
So everyone's click.
So that is amazing. We'll put links up with this video how to find the Kickstarter, your information, everything.
Yeah. There's lots of boners in this. There's lots and lots of boners. Let me see if I can find a boner.
What's like? It's funny when I think of cartoonists. I am not particularly educated in the world of like queer comics, but I always think of you and I think of Ed Luce, probably because you're local boys.
Yeah.
Who would be another cartoonist for a beginner to look up?
John Macy is fantastic. And he's also he's going to be in the Hard to Swallow collection. Dave Davenport, who did this book with me.
Dave Davenport, interrupting. He's another one of those guys who I've always wanted to sleep with.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? I'm just going to say right here on publicly like
I don't care. I'm a pervert. I'm not a shaming pervert.
That's him, werewolf guy, kind of. Isn't that fucking hot?
The hottest werewolf ass.
So fucking hot.
It looks a little like my friend Brian.
I
had to cover the head because the head face didn't look like it.
You cover his head anyway, right?
But I just I decided recently as well because like since I run the online publication, sometimes I represent the publication, so I really don't try to inject my opinions into it. But I've decided lately, those are some nice fuzzy balls, and that's my favorite area of a guy, the taint.
Yeah. The taint. Yeah.
I want to just live on a person's taint.
You're taint positive.
Yeah, I literally want to find someone that just wants to jerk off and me just sniffing his taint the whole time, just sitting right there.
That could absolutely be arranged.
I'll probably lick it a little bit. So that started because of Dave's one of those people. Do you have those people in your life who you're known for decades and you're like, I've always wanted to sleep with that person? Yeah.
Well, I actually met Dave at the Hole in the Wall bar in 1995.
Let's give all of Dave's filth.
I had a huge crush on Dave but then we became friends.
I think he was always partnered in because we're from the earlier mid-90s San Francisco.
Yeah.
I think he was always partnered. There's something about Dave. Or we were both playing the same game. Whenever I'm really into somebody, I just kind of don't even look at them, don't even notice them.
Really? Try to play super hard to get, and it just doesn't work.
All right, so enough about that. So you are a busy guy in general.
Yes.
Because you're a teacher.
Yes. So we started the MFA, the Masters of Fine Arts in Comics at California College of the Arts.
So is it one of the first ones ever?
It is one of the first ones. So it's a low residency program. You basically show up for the month of July. Yeah. And you do a residency intensive for the month of July, where you're working. The students are working 9-hour days plus homework, incredibly intense. Intense for the teachers too, because I'm teaching 3-hour lecture class in the history and cultural context of comics every day for the month of July, and it's crazy. But then you've got 3 Julys, and then the 2 years in between, bracketed by the 3 Julys, is you do one-on-one mentoring with your professors. So and you can do that from abroad, actually. So I have one student who's in Korea, for example, and I meet with him on Skype every 2 weeks.
That's cool. They gotta feel like
and
special attention.
Yeah. And then they're working on their thesis, so you're doing all this direct work with them, and then they come back for the next July.
Yeah.
And the Julys are really just packed with stuff. It's really pretty cool, everything from professional practice stuff to drawing techniques to history of comics and all that.
I was giggling at
Pedagogy.
the motorcycles going by. We are smack in the middle in the middle of San Francisco's mission.
It's true.
You were just in Germany.
Yeah, so the Schwules Museum, I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly.
What is it?
It's Schwules. It's apparently one way to pronounce, one pronunciation is like Schwules, the other one is maybe Schwules or something, and one means gay and one means moist. So I'm either saying the Moist Museum or the Gay Museum.
I love the term moist.
Yeah, I kind of want to say gay, moist gays. So Schwules.
I want to get moist tattooed. Yeah,
ew.
It's really awesome, like
moist
cursive, moist taint.
So they decided to do a show on queer comics, partly inspired by my book No Straight Lines, which is really awesome. That it made me feel really good about that. And they wanted to also showcase the European cartoonists, queer cartoonists, and some of the Asian ones. So they, did this big show and brought me in to help curate the show. So I was there for 2 weeks. I thought it was going to be this like really easy gig where I would like throw some art on the walls and then go party in Berlin.
Just go be Justin. Oh.
Yeah, no, it was like the industrious Germans had me working up to 12-hour days, and so I didn't really.
Maybe that was their like weird fetish. They wanted to work you hard. They were like in the background loving it.
Just like, yeah.
He thought this little punk American would come and he thought I was going to get like this free ride to Germany, but we're going to work his ass.
Oh, you think it was
and
all
they were
like an
loving
elaborate
it. Yeah.
fetishy plot.
Yeah. It wasn't. And you, because I saw pictures of you with Kevin Clark.
Yeah.
Because we've connected through books and
beard
art. He's definitely a beard enthusiast, a Pogonophile.
Well, I wasn't sure because I grew this out in New Zealand during my honeymoon. And I always used to have a handlebar mustache that would go like this. That was my trademark look. And I finally grew this out, and I was like, well, I don't know if it's going to go over in Berlin. But I was Skyping with Kevin, and Kevin later on wrote, hey, I love the beard. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, so what's going on in Berlin? Like last time I was in Europe, facial hair hadn't really hit Europe.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, it's really popular here. And in fact, there's like a museum show about beards happening right now in Berlin. So yeah, it's all very hipster beard.
He does interesting things. He always does beard things, and he also has done some, I don't know if it's photography or artwork with porn stars. Because I know he does some to Tim Kruger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You usually have the Fu Manchu kind of. Is that Fu Manchu?
Yeah, handlebar mustache.
Yeah. It's off. Yours is like thick and like still.
Thank you. Do you want to touch it?
I do. It's so nice.
It's funny. I don't have any gray in it.
I was gonna comment on that,
which is weird.
None.
I'm turning 45 tomorrow.
Which is another reason for all you guys to hate him. Because a lot of people, like, their first gray comes in with their beards.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't mind some salt and pepper.
Yeah,
the daddy thing is where it's at.
You'll get there.
But I'm okay with
you'll get there.
So
you turn 45 tomorrow.
I'm
43. We are that generation that
45 on Valentine's Day. What?
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so
okay.
But back to business. So yeah, the Schwules Museum brought me out there. It was an incredible experience. I loved doing it, and I basically collected original art from people like Alison Bechdel, Howard Cruz, John Macy, Dax, Tran Cafe, who's a local genderqueer artist, and brought all that stuff out, and then also printed up stuff, hung it on the wall. It was crazy. Like I didn't realize like curating a museum show is a shitload of work. Is designed and kind of making the narrative of the space, and but it was incredible. I've traveled a lot. I've spent I probably visited over 60 countries. Kind of spent years on the road with a backpack.
I remember your Thailand pictures from years ago. I feel like I've seen you doing the Southeast Asia.
I used to do comics about that. I used to do a series called True Travel Tales, and they're all I would bring my inks and paper with me in my backpack as I would travel and kind of. Stay for like a week in like some island in the Mekong River and kind of draw another comic and move on.
So you're on like a little scooter like this big and you're like this
big. with a refrigerator. There's scooters like it's in Southeast Asia. Everybody's got little scooters and they can put unbelievable amounts of stuff. Like a family of 6 on a scooter or 3 pigs and a refrigerator.
And
it's kind of amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. But I've never had the experience of living and working in another country, and that was really different. So I feel like those guys that I I was curating with at the show, and the people who were working at the museum became colleagues of mine. And there's nothing like a bonding moment, like being up and all night before a show opens, like stapling shit to the wall. Yeah, so that was really powerful, and they I did a reading of my own work, and it was there, and they're incredibly supportive. So now I feel like I've got my real people in Berlin, which is really great. I love that city, and the museum is amazing. It's amazing. So also the museum is like, this massive exhibition space of like they can do 3 big exhibitions at once. Just massive space, with space for doing readings and openings, and then also like a coffee shop and a bookstore when you walk in.
It's like a place you'd want to like hang out.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then upstairs there's a library with every queer publication ever, and workshops and offices. And then in the basement is this archive. It's a climate controlled archive, massive space, incredibly well cataloged because it's German, and everything from like homophile manifestos from the 1800s to like the first chair a lesbian activist sat on to like. Just incredible stuff. So it's really it really gave me chills going down there. Besides the climate control, it was
just what was in that room.
What's in that room? The history and culture, the queer culture and history. It's just amazing. It was wonderful to kind of feel like I was a part of that in some way.
Well, I think you are. So when people think of like the comic mecca, like is there one concentrated area that's like kind of when they think of queer cartoons or comics, is there like one city?
Well,
is it San Francisco?
San Francisco Bay Area it has traditionally been the kind of mecca. That in New York, of course, but a lot of stuff came out of San Francisco. So the first feminist underground comics came out of San Francisco, and a lot of the first queer comics. So women's comics started here.
Who's the lesbian that was involved with the shooting of Andy Warhol?
Valerie Solanas.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of.
But she wasn't a cartoonist.
No, I don't know. She popped in my mind. Well, lesbian, underground magazine. I saw the movie. I remembered it, so I was proud that I wasn't proud enough to remember that. But it was like a feminist, because feminists.
Yeah, but she ran the Scum Society.
Oh, Scum, that's what it was.
For cutting out men.
Yeah.
It's not exactly,
Do they edit? Yeah. Rewind? Do they edit, rewind?
So, no, but San Francisco is definitely, it's a great place. Yeah. It has this incredible history. So Last Gasp Comics, which was the publisher and distributor for a lot of this stuff, is still here in the Mission.
Yeah.
And the underground comic scene really developed here in San Francisco, and the Haight-Ashbury, and the feminist underground, the queer underground. A lot of it really happened here. That's changed obviously with the price, how everything's so expensive here. A lot of cartoonists have moved up to Portland, a lot of down to LA, but it's still, we're actually going to do the Queers in Comics Conference. It was started last year by Jennifer Camper at the CLAGS, the Center of Lesbian and Gay Studies at the City University of New York in Manhattan.
It's a mouthful.
And yes,
it's a mouthful.
CLAGS at CUNY. But it was this incredible, it was the first academic conference about queer comics. And it was surprisingly profound. I went to it, a lot of people went, and it was like I was on the verge of tears the entire time, because you work in this weird little artistic subculture for years, and I've been doing this stuff for close to 20 years now, but you don't really have a sense of how much if it matters to people, right?
Yeah.
You kind of put your stories out into the world.
I understand that sometimes.
Yes, you understand.
You don't see.
You don't know.
It's leaking.
Yeah.
Or it's spreading, or
if
who it's
people
inspired.
Care. Exactly. So to suddenly have this moment when multiple generations of queer cartoonists all gathered together, and it was like an academic conference, so it wasn't about trying to sell work or do anything like that with the public.
Were people dressed up still though?
No.
See, because that's another thing that I think about when.
Yes, no, and that's a different kind of.
But this is an academic,
But this was also underground comics, right? It's not superhero stuff. So, but all these people, and you had everything from the woman who created the first lesbian comic book, all the way, Mary Wings, who lives here in Ventura Hill, all the way down to, to the young genderqueer web cartoonist, and everybody in between kind of inspired each other, and to suddenly realize that your work matters, that it went out into the world and helped create this artistic community. getting chills even thinking about it. I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing.
It's not even like just hypothesizing. It's real.
Yeah,
like,
incredibly validating. Like this work actually matters, at least to this community. So, I
think that all the comics that you guys are talking about and doing and promoting all really represents a community that like I relate to, that I think also is so underrepresented in the media still to this day. So it's like, as being like the little weird queer kid, like that wasn't inspired by like Three's Company. What's the Will and Grace and those kind of things. Like there's such a huge community that I relate to that's still just not represented. So that's what your comics do and say and
there's a rush
expose.
to kind of there's a rush to assimilate and normalize queer people in the media, which in the mainstream media, which is great. But of course, there are a lot of us that don't, kind of live on the edges a little bit and don't particularly want our identities to be quite so assimilated. So
that's why
we still have our own stories.
That's why I identify also as being 43 is when I was in high school. Because in high school I wasn't the punk, I wasn't the hippie, I wasn't the goth. I was kind of all of them. And I never fit into the group. And even now that I'm older, like that's why my site's X and a bear. It's not a bear website just because of the body. People think I'm a bear, but I'm not really part of the bear community. I'm not part of the porn star community. I don't go to bars. I don't know. It's just I don't fit into any of the gay communities just as much as I did when I was a kid. But when there's things like these magazines showing people that I'm attracted to and stories and it's just interesting. Punk culture.
That's
like punk culture is still like I was listening to Sharon Needles of all people the other day, and I'm not like obsessed with all drag queens and all the RuPaul drag girls, but I love Sharon Needles because she sang live on the Yahoo Music, and she was talking about, she was wearing a Gigi Allen t-shirt, which was awesome for one. She was talking about like all of her musical influences, like my life with the Thrill Kill Cult, and all these things, and she's like, none of the kids or drag queens these days know what any of that means, but she really enjoys like exposing it to a culture of all these kids that love her being a drag queen, and she's like,
check out all these other alternatives.
She actually sings covers of songs, and they're like, we love your song, and she's like, that was, a Joy Division song, or that was, I don't know. It's just, had you also, because I know Comic Cons and all these became really popular. There's one in New York too, like
New York Comic Con.
There's something out of Flame.
Oh, Flame Con,
or something. I get press releases from them. So that was kind of really popular.
So that's a queer comics convention. So Queers in Comics is an academic conference. It's not designed. You don't sit behind a booth and sell things, right? It's about doing panels and kind of conversations with other cartoonists and with academics, and so it's not about selling material. Comic conventions, you have a floor show where you sell the work. You also have panels, but you sell the work, right? So, and it's open to the public and all this. So there are actually are now queer comic conventions, like BentCon, FlameCon.
So I didn't know the difference. I thought they were all sort of the same thing. Come and meet the man behind the comics and sell things, and buy T-shirts and get autographs. And
that's the standard comic convention. And even with that, you've got like Comic-Con and Emerald City Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, the really big ones, and they become kind of general pop culture festivals. There's a lot of Hollywood participation, TV.
I always see the
panels on all that stuff.
So that's when they bring in like the celebrities or hot.
Right. Whereas the indie comic conventions, there's a whole other kind of community of indie comic conventions, like Small Press Expo, Space in Ohio, Cake in Chicago, and they're all basically kind of for independent comics. And there's no cosplay, there's no superheroes, there's no Hollywood. It's about independent underground comics as a form and a medium.
It's my lady. So also what's important behind, this might be really boring, but making a living from comics, is that something people could do these days? Or because there's so much business aspect in social media behind it, like making a living from being a cartoonist, is it possible?
Yes, so it is possible. It's not it's not like there's buckets of money in comics. It is an underground art form, but there are ways to do it. And I actually, so Matt Sility, who created is the head of the MFA in comics program at CCA. The two of us really when we kind of helped imagine this program. I was very, very adamant that because I went to art school and came out of art school with all these art skills, but no idea how to make a living as an artist. No idea how to create a portfolio, approach a gallery, nothing.
Yeah.
So I floundered after getting out of art school.
All that is what made me ask that question.
Yeah, and I refuse to let that happen to my students. Like because I think it's deeply unethical for a program to ask this for this much money and time from students and not provide them as much possibilities as possible for them to make a living with this skill set. So we teach classes in pedagogy so they can teach comics, which I think more and more
Pedagogy? I don't even know what that word is.
It's polysyllabic.
Sounds erotic.
It means teaching theory.
I'm not smart, so I don't even pretend. I'm not afraid of asking the questions.
You're wily.
I'm like,
you're crafty.
Yeah.
I know it's teaching theory, right? So they come out of the program, they can teach comics at another.
You probably
school,
give them
right?
also like a realistic idea of
what and
life
also
is
we do a professional practice class, and we bring in agents and publishers, distributors, retailers, librarians, tax accountants, like everyone who's going to help them make a living as an artist, like how you can do that. And there are ways to do it. You can. Obviously go through the mainstream and do superhero work or work for Archie or something like that. You can also, if you're doing underground comics, you can do a graphic novel that might get picked up, like Alison Bechdel, Fun Home, right?
And then just cross your fingers like something goes viral.
Yeah, right.
I mean, there's the working the circuits or just
well, there's the web cartoonists too who really try to work that, try to get a viral comic. And there are people who make their living with web comics. I mean, basically, there's a whole model to it where you put up your work for free. But then if you try to get about 1,000 fans, and by fans it means people who will buy everything you make, and then you have a store where you have printed collections of the material. You've got T-shirts, you've got coffee mugs,
pens,
original art, everything, and that if you can get 1,000 fans, you have $100 worth of material you produce each year. That's a living wage.
I've seen on their Patreon pages sometimes.
And Patreon's another model.
There's for such like content creators, which is really good. Because I have a Patreon page. You can either do it for not one project, like per month or per project. And I know some artists like, if you sign for a Patreon page, I'll guarantee to put out 4 things each month.
Yeah.
And then a couple of them have a lot of followers. Like per project, they can make like $12,000.
Yeah.
And so it's like, Patreon's a good source.
Patreon's a whole new model, right?
If you have your followers and then if they follow and if they are willing to cough up $1.
Right.
I have a ton of followers, but getting them to cough up $1 is really rough.
There are new possibilities now. I mean, it really is exciting. And with Kickstarter also, it enables us to publish this book.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. So
it's possible then.
Yeah. I mean, there are ways to make a living with this.
I think it's also there's rare people that just have it. Because people can, there's some artists, they have something.
Yeah.
But they also need to, they can't just have it, they also have to
the days, I mean, you think about the kind of classic older artists, like Robert Crumb or Daniel Clowes, people who were, just these brilliant cartoonists, but they were misanthropes, right?
I'm shaking my head, but I don't know these people.
Sorry.
No, it's good, I didn't need to learn.
But they're misanthropes, and they're recluses. They sit at home, and they really hate people, and they kind of they draw their brilliant material, but they don't know how to promote themselves. They're not interested in that. Their publishers do that. Those days are kind of gone, right? I mean, if you're an artist, there are a lot of ways to make a living now, but you have to be as much your own promoter and as the artist itself, right? So you need to be able to get out there and make a social media presence. You need to create events around your work. I think
we've talked about this, like the work put beyond, and there's so much of it out there. Also, you can't just like put it out there once and let it fly.
You have to boom, drop the mic and walk away.
Put it out there again, repost, retweet, retumblr,
and maybe
people.
Maybe eventually, like you get to a certain. Alison Bechdel doesn't have to do that anymore, right? But everybody else does. Yeah. I mean, you really need to.
Some of my favorite artists in San Francisco, good friends of mine, they're like, I swear to God, they're the most brilliant artists I've ever known in my life, and their work's not seen. Like my friend Jeff Shipley,
I love his work.
He just is incredible. But the most incredible stuff he's ever done is just kind of like stacked in his basement or at his house. He just doesn't have that. Another friend of mine, Andy Knight, does these crazy sculptures in his basement. In his basement, they don't leave his basement. Yeah. He does open studios every once in a while, and all these people discover him. But I'm like, you, if you had that persona to get it out there and have the desire,
It is really tricky because it means, I mean, again, there are more possibilities, but it also requires more work, and establishing a kind of public persona and presence is another job. Are you really jerking off my sock monkey? No, she's gonna start laughing if you do that.
So I'm gonna, when my friend dies, I'm gonna steal his art and put my name on it and sell it.
That sounds great.
That's what friends are for. All right, I think we have a lot of material that we've covered.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. I thought if we didn't have enough, I'd ask you random questions, not about art. I was gonna ask you, how do you feel about gay representation?
That would be awesome. Can I make one other plug?
Feel like it. If this has got to be all about you for a second.
So the other thing that we're doing is from No Straight Line, the No Straight Lines book. We are,
which I just love this cover.
Yeah, it's Maurice Velacoop, who's like one of the great gay cartoonists.
Every time I talk to you or people like Ed Luce, I always get inspired. I always tell myself, I'm gonna get more into comic books.
Yeah, you should. All the cool kids are doing it. But we're doing a documentary film based on the history on this book based about the history of queer comics. So me, Greg Sirota, and Vivian Kleiman.
Greg.
Yeah.
He moved to LA.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And Vivian Kleiman, who's a Peabody Award-winning director and producer. So we're all working on this project together. It's going to be amazing when we
You're currently working on it, or it's like about to happen, or
we just got grants from the Berkeley Film Foundation and San Francisco Film Foundation.
Jesus.
And we're just trying to gather enough funds, and then we'll jump into production. We did a trailer though. Ed Luce is in it. Mary Wings, Alison Bechdel, Howard Cruz.
And that's out already. The trailer.
Yeah. You haven't seen, I have to send that to you.
Maybe I have. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I get flooded.
Yeah.
Oh, exciting! So there's lots of stuff going on.
Oh yeah.
People,
I'm overwhelmed. All
working
the time.
people.
I'm always on the verge of panic, pretty much at any time.
Yeah.
If you startle me, I might just completely have a nervous breakdown.
You might just shit his pants.
I might shit my pants.
Where can people find you? Because where can people find you in your work?
My work. So I have a website, which is justinhallcomics.com, but I, of course, never update it because it's another job, and I have about 5 jobs right now.
Yeah.
So, but go there. At some point, I will update it.
Are you interactive on Facebook?
And I'm interactive on Facebook and on Twitter. So, she was so wholesome until you got to her. She's really inspired to bring it out.
Yeah. Her foot. She's into it.
Okay. When you have prehensile legs and feet, then you might as well get feet.
This actually looks like my cat. This was
made, by the way, by my friend Michelle Rainier, who's brilliant. She's like one of the most brilliant artists.
All right.
Also makes a lot of art in her basement. But anyway.
Good Lord.
So you can in Justin Hall Comics, but also Facebook, Twitter. I have all that stuff. I should get on Instagram if I was a good person.
You should, and you should go the route of just posting shirtless pictures to become famous for your art.
Do I have to?
Yeah.
I have to, yeah.
That's something I talk about often, like artists and musicians who are famous for their social media Speedo pictures, but no one ever talks about their music. But I'm trying to change that. I called out several people on these podcasts last couple weeks, and it's funny. The next week they made videos kind of in response.
Oh, really?
Not identifying that it was directly in response, but exactly what I called them out on. And we made a response video, which is good. I'd like to start conversation.
Yeah, bring it out. So you wanted to ask me some questions
about well, it's going to be one question, because hopefully it bounces back so I can talk about myself. I was going to say, how do you feel about gay representation in the media these days? And I mean that as far as, because, LGBTQ communities become so popular over the years, and gay marriage is legal in most countries. Not Australia yet, believe it or not.
Not Australia, but most countries is not legal.
And
most of Africa and Asia, it's not legal.
So a lot of our representation is like people like Ellen and Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper. I just feel like everybody's so like precious and nice and sweet. I have issues with this myself, and like there are people like Ellen, who I love. I think Ellen's amazing, but she's just like so precious, and I just wonder what you think about are there any gay media people that you look up to? You're more underground.
Yeah. I really want to fuck. What's his name? The bear, the like hot bear that is always on the mainstream media. Andrew Andrew.
I know this person, right?
Yeah,
or no, of this person.
You should.
He's an athlete,
no,
actor,
he's a
bear. He's an actor.
No, he's a writer. He's a
celebrity.
Oh, good Lord.
Brian Sims, the politician. Andrew Sullivan.
Andrew Sullivan, is that it? He's
The-
like a hot bear with a little.
Oh, you mean he's got a British accent?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want to.
We hung out this past summer.
Oh really?
Because he has a house in P-Town, and I'm friends with his husband Aaron Tone.
Dude, I really want to.
Yeah.
I want to just.
It could be done.
Bend him over.
Andrew Sullivan, who he had a really popular blog for many years.
Yeah.
Why am I forgetting this? It was one of the first ones I ever looked at. But he gave it up just a couple this past year.
Yeah, I want to.
So much work.
I want to fuck him really hard, like just. Really
Andrew, and it's possible Andrew will watch this because Aaron Tone is my buddy, and we hang out in P-Town. Do you do P-Town?
No, I don't.
You should go to P-Town sometime. And there's like Bear. It's Bear Week, but forget that it's even Bear Week. It's just friendly, awesome week in P-Town. It's amazing, and they have Bear Market, and they have like 99.9999% shit and cheesy bear slogans and crap bear merchandise. But like I could see you there.
Bareback Market.
Bareback Market. Okay, so
queer representation in the media. Yeah, I mean, I'm thrilled that queer people are being assimilated in mainstream media. I think that's wonderful. I also think there's a space for. I mean, this is one of the things I think about in terms of comics. I'm going to go academic a little bit.
Do it. He's smart.
Is that it's the job of the mainstream media to assimilate and normalize queer people.
Like that's why Alan and those people are like digestible.
Yeah,
but I think we're ready for more progressive people.
Then I feel like there's and in terms of the comics world, you've got a gay Archie character, you've got a lesbian Batwoman. It's all which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's not. But you still needed a queer underground to talk about more complicated issues and to kind of analyze and dissect and poke fun at, celebrate queer identities and experiences from an insider's perspective, right? So that's still neat.
You just necessary. Like made me hard just because that's what I want to accomplish. Sometimes it might be hard to figure out what the hell I'm trying to accomplish.
It's hard to swallow.
Well, it's hard to swallow. That even has to do with what we talked about earlier. Like I was trying to figure out the word queer and gay, and I was like, I didn't even think about like gay representation, and like I think of like Ellen and all those people. They're so like precious and sweet and nice, but I don't relate to any of them. And that's when I thought that's why I love the word queer, because I'm queer, and those people that are on TV and in talk shows, which is great because they're plowing, making pathways. They're definitely not queer. I wouldn't call Ellen queer or Andy Cohen queer. Because queer means more edgy or
it does mean
alternative.
But it's also an inclusive term, which I kind of love that about the term.
Yeah, because I have definitely queer straight friends. That's why I want my website to be more. I actually I've actually made it from just gay everything to like less gay, including gay, less gay, like gay focused. Because now I want like cool straight dudes to come, and I want girls to come look at my site. Because that's pretty soon I want to even cut out queer.
Well, it's also nice that queer content can now be enjoyed by everybody, right? In a way that was not possible before. So I think queer creators created this material, and only other queers would consume it. But that's not true anymore. So like I helped curate a show called Batman on Robin for Mission Comics.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was which was really packed. It was packed, and it was packed not just with gay boys.
Yeah,
it was like everything from like old muscle daddies, gay muscle daddies, to like young trans hipsters, to like women, men, straight, gay, everything, bisexual, and we curated it that way. So we got different people to do their takes on Batman and Robin getting it on, and it was amazing, and everybody kind of gathering and like having so much fun with this material, and that would have like. 20 years ago, the only people who would have showed up to that show would have been gay.
We'd almost guarantee knew the 20 guys that would be there.
Yeah,
I was actually surprised at that show, the diversity of it, because I remember when you spoke, we read something of that, and I was like looking around, I was like, wow, these aren't just my queers, these are gays, these are like queer, diverse people. I didn't know a lot of people, which I was surprised by and kind of happy by.
Yeah, and I was reading like hardcore gay porn comics, and everybody was like laughing and having a good time. That's why I also think very San Francisco. It's very inclusive. I love that show.
I'm falling out of love with San Francisco, but this conversation, I am.
But this conversation
makes me want. It makes me has a hope.
Give me a little fist puppy.
you know, it's like all the boring topics about money and
Yeah,
diversity,
I know,
but
I
like,
know, I know.
but I've lived here since '92, and I'm
95.
yeah. All right, we are good. We're gonna put up props. We props. We're gonna put up links, props. English is not my second language. Surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's.
Thank you so much. I
good.
appreciate it.
We were gonna like
That's awesome.
watch you draw some shit, but I think we're good.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me? I can show what an original art page looks like.
Yeah. Could you do that?
Yeah. Let's just do that right now. Ready?
Is it?
If I go like this, then you can like cut, like right.
Yeah.
I can be like pretend it's my
What are you
magical
gonna?
powers.
Why don't you show me something?
Yeah, I sure will.
So what do we have here?
So this is an illustration that I did for the cover of the new collected edition of Hard to Swallow, and it's a glory hole genie. The genie's coming out of the glory hole, and Dave Davenport is going to illustrate a guy down here. Looking up and being surprised by this glory hole genie coming out. He's going to color the whole thing and then build the title across here. So we do a collaborative cover, which will be really fun.
What is this ponytail called?
Oh, it's a
Is
little
that
top
like
knot.
Japanese?
It's a little top knot. I decided to go top knot. You know, why not?
I love it.
Thank you.
That's going to be the what? The cover?
It'll be illustration for the cover of the Hard to Swallow collection,
Oh.
which has a Kickstarter going on right now.
Well, I'm going to step back and ask you one question now. Don't you guys have some pretty cool rewards for your Kickstarter?
Oh yeah, we do actually. Yeah. So
Just throw them out there again.
All right, so we got the book, the digital copies of the book, and also original art, which there's a few of those.
That made me excited when I read that.
Yeah, and then also huge collections of queer comics from Northwest Press, all available for rewards. There's like crazy amounts of stuff actually. Like,
What is going to be 50 pages of original content in the middle? Is that going to be?
I'm doing this like experimental thing about my time in Berlin called Berlin Buffet, and it's a memoir erotic comic about.
Is this pretty
about
much
going to,
a
like,
diary of your time in Berlin? Which is
essentially.
probably filthy.
Yeah. It's going to the best sex club in the world, which is the Laboratory in Berlin. It's gonna be great. And Dave's doing more stuff about King Kong and Godzilla, kind of getting it on. Yeah, it'll be good.
Okay, I'm gonna.
It's been a
Bye.
pleasure. Bye. Thanks for doing this, and you guys check out the Kickstarter page.
Thank you.
Check out your work beyond, because even if the Kickstarter page fails miserably, which it won't, because it's already above halfway there.
Yeah.
Check out his work.
Yeah, JustinHallComics.com.
And sometimes he posts shirtless pictures.
Wait, my eyes are up here. My eyes are up here.
that was just that 5 seconds will get people like the video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Now you're all ready.